So, hello everyone. So, today we will discuss our TFI question of 2015. Okay, see, the first question they have asked, which of the following vector is parallel to the surface? So, first we have to find the del of the surface. Suppose let us call it S. We will find the gradient of the surface. Then we will find its value at this point 2, -2, 3. Since they have asked that which of the following vector is parallel to the surface, so the result which we will get, the dot product of this with the options must be 0. Okay, so this is the procedure. First you have to find the gradient of the surface, then you have to substitute these values in the gradient of the surface. Now the vector parallel to this surface will be normal to del s, so we have to check each option by taking the dot product with del s. Then after this you will get that option D is my correct answer. Okay, second question, they have said a random number generator outputs +1 or -1 with equal probability, that is half, because if the total probability is 1 and if suppose this is P and this is Q, then P plus Q is half and both are having the equal probability. So I can say that P is equals to Q, so 2P equals to 1. That means what? P is equals to half, that is equals to Q. Okay, now after it is run 6 times, what is the probability that the sum of the answer generated is 0? Now you see, if 6 times it is generated, for getting the answer to be 0, it is obvious that 3 times will be +1 and 3 times will be -1. Is there any other combination possible that if 6 times we are substituting these values and we are getting the total values to be 0? No other combination can be possible, because we basically needs to cancel +1, +1 and +1, and if they are 3 times -1, then only this all will get cancelled out and we will get our value as 0. If we are taking 4 times +1 and if we are taking 2 times -1, do we get 0? No. So the only possibility is that 3 times +1 and 3 times -1. Now assume that the individual runs are independent of each other. Fine. So what will be the solution? See, total n, that is, see, the general formula is nc n p to the power n q to the power n minus n. This is the general formula. This is called the binomial distribution. This formula is also useful in case of random walk. So here n is the total number it is run, that is 6 times. So 6c, and n, here n is what? 3. P, that is half to the power 3, and q to the power 3. Okay, so we will get what? 6 combination. Wait, let me rub this. See, now 6c3, so 6 minus 3 factorial and 3 factorial, and this will be 1 by 2 to the power 6. If you do this, you will get 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 factorial, and this you will get 3 factorial 1 by 2 to the power 6. Then if you calculation part you can do, right? Tomorrow is your exam, so don't waste your time in doing the calculation part. Just understand the concept. Now 3 factorial, 3 factorial, 3 factorial means 6, and from here 2 to the power 6, if you take 2 to the power 2, this 4 will cancel out, so you will left here with 2 to the power 4. So we are getting 5 by 2 to the power 4, that is 5 by 16. Okay, now in third question they have asked, in required to construct the quantum theory of a particle of mass m with dimension x under the influence of a constant force F. What is the characteristic length scale in this problem? See, first of all, you can clearly understand that they have asked something, that is, they have asked length. So just you see all these 4 are different, right? So you just find the dimensional analysis. If when you are getting the dimension as length, so this is the right answer. Correct? Also, formula wise, if you want to do length from de Broglie's hypothesis, we can say length, that is L, is equals to h by momentum, h cross by momentum, right? Again, h cross momentum is what? 2m e, right? Again, e can be written as what? Force into length L. See, I am doing it here. See, then h cross root 2me. So 2m force into length L is equals to, so here already one L is present, 1 plus half, that is equal to h cross by root 2 mf force, then L to the power 3 by 2 h cross root 2 mf. Then if you calculate again, L is equals to h cross to the power 2 by 3 2 mf. Here there is root, so 2 by 3 and into 2. So this will cancel out. So this is what? H cross square by 2 mf whole to the power 1/3. We can write in this way. So which option is correct? Options H cross square 2 mf whole to the power 1/3. Option C is correct. Sorry, huh? This is mf. Okay, sorry. This is m square f. So option C, no, option B is correct. Because this is m here. H cross square by 2mf. See, if this 2 is not present, so approximately the frame means the pattern is same, so we can say option B is correct. Okay, now question 4. What they have asked in question 4? This is a very easy question. See, this is a cone, okay, and this is my angle alpha. Okay, now here a particle is here. Okay, this is suppose a particle, this is particle is on the inside surface of frictional zone. Okay, so we will have to draw the free body diagram and nothing else. Suppose this is the particle. Okay, so this is what? Weight mg, and this one will be what? Centrifugal force, so m omega square r. Here this is moving in this way, so here is what? The normal force n, right? Now we will what? We will do the components of normal force. If this angle is alpha, so can we say that this angle is alpha? Yes, we can say if this is alpha, then this is what? N cos alpha, and this is what? N sin alpha. So if we equate, what we will get? N cos alpha, that is equals to m omega square r, and n sin alpha is equals to what? Mg. So now if you divide this, you will get tan alpha equals to omega square r by g. So what they have asked? Omega square. Okay, so let me do here. We are getting tan alpha is equals to omega square r by g. So from here you can get omega is equals to r by g tan alpha root. So r by g tan alpha, where it is there? What we got? R by g tan alpha. I have done something wrong. Yes, I have done something wrong. That is, I have done here calculation mistake. So omega square r by g. So omega is equal to g tan alpha by r. So this is the answer. Root g tan alpha by r. Wait a second. Tan alpha, sin alpha, cos alpha. Oh, I have done here mistake. This is not tan. Then we can say this is cot, or wait. This is tan alpha. This is equals to g by omega square r. Okay. So this is calculation part you can do, right? I will just tell the concept. G omega square r. So omega is what? G by r tan alpha. Okay. Now let's see. Since we have done this completely, let's see which option is right. G by r tan alpha. The option D is right. Okay. Now a car starts from rest. See, a car is starting from rest. Okay. So obviously this will be passing through the origin. Okay. See, first this type of question, the best thing whenever you are solving any question is to eliminate answers. Okay. Is to eliminate answers. Now you see, under a force F which is increasing linearly in time as F is equals to at. Okay, so we can understand the displacement time graph, there will be a linear dependence. Okay, like y is equal to mx straight line. Okay, at time t1 greater than 0, the force F is suddenly switched off. Okay, at a later time t2 greater than t1, brakes are applied. See, whenever brakes is applied, what happen? The car is moving ahead. It cannot come back. Whenever brakes are applied, the car will move ahead. This is the click. You have to find that click in the question. Okay. Now this is the click. Now at a later time t2 greater than t1, brakes are applied resulting a force F dash whose magnitude increases. Okay. Linearly with time. Where A is a same constant as before. Which of the following graphs should best represent? Now you have to see that portion that after t1 force F is no, after T2, because after T2 brakes are applied. So after T2 you have to see in the graph that my force is see after T2, because in T2 is greater than T1, brakes are applied, so you are moving ahead, you are not coming back. So there must be increment, there cannot be any decrement. Okay, so you see in this graph and in this graph, in both, in these three graphs you are seeing a decrement, right, after the brakes are applied. But so these three graphs are what, wrong. So only graph left is what, graph C. So graph C is correct. Okay, you have to visualize the options. If you can understand the connection between the question and the options, 50% work is done there only. So just don't hurry up that which formula to use, what to use. No, read the question clearly. The click is inside the question only. The click is inside the question only. Okay, see this, in the Earth's atmosphere a localized low pressure region in developed somewhere in the sea, southern hemisphere. Whenever you are getting, that means what, southern hemisphere is always, the body is always deflected towards the left and clockwise direction. If it was northern hemisphere, then it will be anti-clockwise and the body will be deflected towards the right. This is some sort of info which you should know. These are some sort of info which you should know. That's why it's important to read books also. Many people think that when we are preparing for a competitive exam, we should not read books. Our main focus should be solving MCQs. See, that's not the thing. If your concept is strong, then you can do the MCQ. And for building the concept, you need to read books. Right? Okay. So you see left and clockwise direction. Here you see this is moving in anti-clockwise direction. This is moving in anti-clockwise direction. This is also moving in anti-clockwise direction. Only this is moving in clockwise direction. So our answer is obvious. That is option D. And I am observing one thing for TFI is that you see among the four options here also and here also, three are one of a pattern. Three are one of a pattern and one is different. Like in case, like in part B, there is no negative marking, right? So you are obviously going to answer all the questions in that. There are no negative marking. So if you can do, obviously that questions you will attempt, and some questions will be also there that you are not able to do. Don't leave those questions because there are no negative marking, right? So always attempt those questions. And you see one pattern that TFI is following, the three answers are one of a kind and other is different kind, and the one which is of different kind is the right answer. In case you are not able to catch the concept, you are not able to catch the click in the question, then what to do? You can use this technique, right? No harm, no negative marking. Fine. Now, focal length in air of a thin lens of glass of refractive index 1.5 is L. I am telling the formula to be used here. That is 1 by 5 is equals to 1 by, sorry, 1 by 5 I am saying, 1 by F. That is, F is the focal length. Okay, this is the formula, mu minus 1, 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. In the first case, mu is given, that is 1.5. Now, in the second case, when immersed in water, you have to find again the mu dash. That will be what? We know relative refractive index, so it will be 1.5 by 4 by 3. Yes, this how we will find with respect to water, with respect to glass, and with respect to glass, air with respect to glass. Okay, so if you solve this, what will you get? 9 by 8. So this is 1 by f, again 1 by f dash, 9 by 8 minus of 1, this is same. And then just you have to find its focal length becomes in this term, because see, if you calculate this, you will get 1.5 minus 1, so this is half of 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2, and if you calculate this, you will get 9 by 8 minus of 1, that is 1 by 8, right? So we will get 1 by 8, 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So this means what? 1 by 4 f, 1 by 4, 1 by f, right? Yes, okay. So you need f dash. So f dash is equals to what? 4f. Clear, simple, this one. Acha, they have said focal length as L. Okay, if it is L given, so 4L. That doesn't matter, right? See, a light beam of intensity I0 passes at normal incidence to a flat plate of plastic kept in air. Its reflection at the interface reduces the intensity by 20%. Okay, and absorption on passing through the plate reduces the intensity by 2%. Okay, The intensity of the emergent beam will be above. Now you see, incident beam intensity is what? I0. Initially it is I0. Now intensity is reducing due to reflection is how much? 20%. Correct? So beam intensity left in plastic is how much? 0.8 I0. Correct? Okay, wait a second. Let me do this here. Initially it is I0. 20% is reduced. So left intensity is how much? 0.8 I0. Now 2% intensity also reduces due to absorption. Okay, so beam intensity left again is how much? 0.8 I0 was initial and 2% is absorbed. So left is what? 0.98. 1 minus 2% is how much? 98 by 100 is how much? 0.98. Now this was the surface. The beam is incident. 0.2 I0 I am getting here. Then it is absorbed how much? 2% is absorbed. So 0.98 is here. 0.2 into 0.98. Now again it will transmit. So this surface again it is getting reflected from this surface. So 0.2 into 0.98 into 0. Sorry, not 2, 0.8, because 20% is absorbed. So left is how much? 0.8. So again 0.8 I0. So you have to calculate this. 0.8. Calculator is already provided. Calculator is already provided. So what you need your concept and you will get the answer. Probably you will get this answer C. I don't know this marked answers are right or wrong. You calculate and tell me what answer you are getting. Okay. Okay. Now question 9. A light beam is propagating through a medium with index of refraction 1.5. Okay. Medium is moving at a constant velocity 0.7 c. Okay. So this is the medium which is moving with a velocity 0.7 c, and this is my lab frame. You have to find the velocity of the light in medium as measured by an observer in the lab frame. So you have to find Vx, that is Vx dash plus V. In the S dash frame we will say Vx dash. This is the velocity addition formula. Okay. See, Vx dash we have to calculate. V is already given 0.7 c. Vx dash how will you calculate? We know refractive index n is equals to what? C by V. So V can be written as what? C by n. This is the click. Just this is the click, because this you know, right? This velocity addition formula obviously you know. So this is the click. Just substitute this value here, you will get the answer. Okay. Question number 10. Two black bodies radiate energy at a temperature T1 and T2. T1 is greater than T2. The energy emitted per unit time, per unit solid angle, per unit surface area of the black body in the radiation range mu to mu plus d mu is given by b mu d mu. Which one of the following graphs has the correct form? Very first concept I am telling you what is there. This thing you remember, this is also a short trick. Whenever temperature is greater, suppose T1, here T1 is greater than T2, okay, then the broadness of the curve increases. For higher temperature, broadness of the curve increases. Okay, so here basically this means this option is wrong, because T1 is greater than T2. This curve will be more broad, and this option, these two options are wrong. Eliminate options, that will reduce stress also, because then you will left with two answers like 50-50 in Kaun Banega Crorepati. In that way you have to eliminate options. Okay, now here I am left with C and D. Now what to do? See, here one thing, this graph T1 is shifted towards left and here T1 is shifted towards right. So this is a trick formula, that whenever the graph is plotted with frequency at the x-axis, then the higher temperature is shifted towards right. And if in case of frequency wavelength lambda is given, then the frequency is shifted towards left. This is the trick. Okay, this is the trick. Now next question. In a cold country in winter, a lake was freezing slowly. It was observed that this is, you know what, this is class 11 or 12. We have done this type of question. Also, we have done a practical in our graduation regarding thermal conductivity. So, here the formula which you need, that is dq dt, that is the rate of heat flow, is equals to del T, the change in temperature, divided by x, the thickness, by Ka, where K is what? Thermal conductivity, and A is what? Area. Okay, so this is the formula you have to use. This whole formula is also not needed here, because basically we need the temperature dependency of x with what? Thickness of ice with time. Okay, now this is one we got. Now here nowhere they have mentioned, they have not given the energy, right? Heat energy have not given. So in equilibrium we need to balance it. So dq can be written as what? Ml, right? Because here what happens, ice is there, so we will use ml, correct? L, you know, latent heat, fine. So m can be written as what? In time, density is equal to what? Mass per unit volume. Mass is equals to what? Density into volume. Area A dx L. So dq dt, if I need to do, what will I get? Rho Al dx dt, because this is the only term which is varying. L is constant, A is constant, rho is constant, density of ice is not going to change. So now equate this and this. So let's equate. What will I get? Rho Al dx dt, that is equals to del T x by, some people also call K as kappa. So you can call K A, whatever you want you can call. So dx x del T, here K A will come here, rho A L. This will cancel out, and dt will be present here. So x square by 2, you will get here del T K T rho L. See, these are all constant, okay? I can say this as C. So T. This 2 also constant. So I can say x square is Ct. That basically x square is proportional to T. Now we need to find the value of C from here. That is x square by T. Initially x is said how much? Initially x has been said 2 centimeter and time is 2 hours. Okay. So 2 square. I am not converting hours into seconds or centimeter into minute. My final answer will be in centimeter. Okay, so C is 2. Now x square, they have said what? Thickness is doubled. Okay, so initial thickness was 2, doubled means what? 4 square. Doubled means x is 4 now. So square is just 4 square. See, I got 2. I need to find time t. So t is what? 4 square, that is 16 by 2, that is 8. So total time taken is 8. But here they have asked the thickness of ice would get doubled after. Initially 2 hours was already taken. So 8 minus 2. That means how much more time you need? So this is 6 hours. Okay. Now, which of the following graphs qualitatively describes the pressure P of a gas of a non-interacting fermions in thermal equilibrium at a constant volume as a function of temperature? You see, first I told you that whenever the graph questions are coming, just you need your visualization. Here you see in this 2, it's saying that temperature T equals to 0, pressure is 0. Is that possible? They have asked with pressure is to 0. At temperature T equals to 0, fermions energy equals to 0. No, energy cannot be 0, right? The particle cannot be at rest. This is invalid. Pressure cannot be 0 because volume is not 0. Is it 0? No. Velocity is 0? No. Velocity is also not 0. So this is what they are saying, that at P is, this is also same thing. So these two options we will cancel out. This has no meaning only. That this is valid because at T equals to 0, we will get a certain value of pressure. At absolute temperature, we will get a certain value of pressure for fermions. So option A is correct. Now question 13. They have asked, find basically the electrostatic potential V is proportional to 1 by R cube. Correct? We know V is proportional to 1 by R, we call it as monopole. 1 by R square, we call it as dipole. 1 by R cube, we call it as quadrupole. So basically, we need to find where is the quadrupole. Now, if you see this minus Q, Q, monopole will be 0, right? So the only arrangement which will satisfy for quadrupole is what? Option C, right? Now, question 14. Yes. What is saying? They are saying that mu, which is greater than mu naught. Here this is air is there, so this is mu naught, and this material is having the permeability mu. Energy density, basically you have to find. Energy density is what? B square by, okay, let me call this energy density this way, B square by 2 mu. Basically energy density is inversely proportional to mu. What left then? Mu g in the gap are best related by, okay, magnetic energy density is mu I and mu g is greater. So here mu I is greater than mu g. This is given in the question, and you got it that E is inversely proportional to 1 by mu. That means our answer will be what? Mu g is greater than mu I. Inversely proportional, so mu g is greater than mu I. So option A is correct. Okay. Next question number 15. Okay, see, I'm telling you the concept. What they have asked? They have find electric field E. Find the pointing. No need of finding pointing vector. We basically know, we know intensity I is equals to what? Half C epsilon naught E naught square. Correct. Intensity I is what? Power per unit area. Half C epsilon naught E naught square. So find E naught from here. They have asked RMS electric field. Just the value divide by root 2. You will get the value. C, you know, speed of light. Epsilon naught, you know, permeability of the medium. 8.85 10 to the minus 12. P, pressure they have given 100 watt. A, pi r square, 5 centimeter. Bus, you have got nothing left, right? Acha, here they have said spherical bulb, so it will be 4 pi r square. Now 16. 16 they have given Vx. You have to find which relation is true. Use the Schrodinger's equation. Use Schrodinger equation, you will get minus h cross square by 2m del 2 psi del x2. That is our Hamiltonian, plus Vx is equals to IH cross del psi del t. Correct? This is our Schrodinger equation. Just use it and you will get. This you know, right? Minus h cross by 2m del 2 psi del x square, my Hamiltonian. This is my Hamiltonian. That must be equals to energy. Okay? Now, ground state energy of a particle of mass m in a three-dimensional cubic box of side L is not zero. This is because, just read the option. The ground state has no nodes in the interior of the box. This is the most convenient choice of no nodes in the interior of the box. This is because, acha, zero level of potential energy, position and momentum cannot be exactly determined simultaneously. Potential at the boundary is not really infinite but just very large. First of all, you see position and momentum cannot be exactly determined simultaneously. According to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, this is true. We know we are getting an uncertainty delta x del px, that is must be greater than h cross by 2. So at a time either we can measure our position or we can measure our momentum. So this cannot be measured simultaneously. Now a one-dimensional box contains a particle whose ground state energy is E. One-dimensional box, we know E, 4E, 9E, 16E. In this way it goes on, right? These are all discrete level of energies. Now, you see in the question they have said that photon is having the energy 80. So basically if we find the expectation value of the energy, that must be equals to 80 before emission. So if you go with option A, what will you get? Psi 1 by root 2. So psi 1 half plus psi 2 half. You know how to find the expectation value of the energy. E1 lambda 1 with the probability. So probability is what? The normalization constant, that's square. So here normalization constant is 1 by root 2. Square of 1 by root 2 is half. So psi 1 is what? Epsilon half plus psi 2 is how much? 4 epsilon half. Is this equals to 8 epsilon? No. Option B. Sorry. Option B is what? Psi 2 by root 5. Okay. So psi 2, 1 by root 5, that is 5, plus 2 by root 5 square, psi 3. Now psi 2 is what? 4 epsilon. Okay. By 5 plus 4 by 5, 9 epsilon. So 5 I am taking common, 4 epsilon plus 36 epsilon. This is 40 epsilon by 5. So this is I am getting 8 epsilon. So this is my right option. You can also check this too. Okay. So today I will stop here only. Okay, you can also see, okay, let me discuss two, three more questions. See, indirect band gap semiconductor. This is a statement of indirect. See, there are two types, right? Direct and indirect. For indirect, there is no momentum change. For direct, there is a momentum change. Okay, the momentum for electron and holes are same for direct band gap semiconductor. And for this question, you see which of the following radioactive decay chain is it possible. See, for stable nucleus, always even nuclei are more stable. Here in the option, you have to check where am I getting even means what? Number of protons and number of neutrons will be even, right? That option will be right. This also you can see, this is a diode is there. So when the diode is in forward bias, then only the op amp will work, right? And when the diode is in the reverse bias, the op amp will not work. So only for the positive half cycle, I will get the output. So obviously this option is correct. Option D is correct. And this is obviously not correct. How can you get 10? 5 sine 2 pi t is given, na? Okay. This you have to calculate. You have to use Kirchhoff's voltage law and you can calculate. Okay. Now you see this question. This is also easy. You have to solve this differential equation. You can get in this way. For diffraction grating, there is a formula E plus D sine theta, that is equals to n lambda. Okay, where E plus D is what? 1 by 10 to the power 4 lines per millimeter they have given, and they are asking in nanometers. So use the units properly. Okay, use the conversion properly. Okay, so today we will stop here only. We will discuss more questions again. I will upload a video very soon. Okay, thank you so much. Keep studying. Best of luck for your exam, TFR. And you know what I said, right? If you're not confident, if you're not getting any answers in the part B, just check the options, visualize the options. That may be helpful for you. Okay, and don't leave any question in section B. There are no negative now, so attempt. Okay, bye bye.